the capacity of law enforcement on the road. We are very limited. They do both scholar transport and public transport in its entirety. 600 traffic officers for the entire province. So we are very thin on the ground, and we take responsibility for that gap, and we are working on filling vacancies to make sure that we resolve this problem. Lastly, Chairperson, on the scholar transport, we also saying the responsibility cuts across all of us, ourselves, the Department of Education, but by and large, we are relying on these service providers because we don't have the budget to buy the buses. As a department, both education and COSATMA, to provide this service. So we'll still rely on the service providers, and I'm glad, Chairperson, you are having them on the agenda on engagement basis. Thanks, Chair.
Adding to that, Chairperson, no plate numbers listed on the buses. So during inspections, the service provider with another
or that have been narrated before the commission to circumstances outside your department?
Not only, Chair. We are also guilty as charged in terms of late payments sometimes. In this case, long payments that were outstanding due to budgetary challenges. So the inefficiency I was also talking about earlier, it's also what we've also picked up. And some of this is allegations coming from service providers. They are saying, no, but in your department, we know that our invoices sit somewhere. There are certain people whose invoices are paid first. But nobody comes through and say this is where we are. So the challenge is fold. Our capacity internally, which is very limited. Our capacity on the road in terms of law enforcement officers, highly limited because they are not only focusing on scholar. It's only now that we have decided to with the pressures, albeit of that capacity, establish now a dedicated team of traffic law enforcement officers, strictly doing with scholar, and we're gonna build on that team going forward. So it's both with us taking the responsibility of the entire responsibility, Chair, because it's us who are servicing our sister department with transport.
Okay. But I believe in your answer you are doubling down because you are referring to things that you say are outside of your control, issues of capacity, budget. Perhaps maybe if you can clarify, what is it that you take accountability for to say this was within our control, we should have done better, but we didn't? Maybe if you just outline those aspects that you actually take accountability for.
Chair, the first one is payment of invoices within 30 days in relation to scholar transport. We haven't, and if there's one area we're working 24/7 on, it's that aspect. And we really do not have any other reason for not doing so if we have budget. Because the purpose of that budget is to spend on that service. That's the first thing. The second issue, Chair, is internal capacity in terms of human resource, both at the level of the Chief Directorate, where we have even resorted to short-term contract employment. We even had a lot of learnerships. We've taken a lot of learnerships into that space so that they assist us with capacity. The third one, Chair, is we are very thin team, but given even in that, so those are the direct responsibilities that we take.
Let's deal with the late payment. Why has no one been held to account, any of your employees held to account for paying service providers late? Particularly the knock-on impact that we are seeing that service providers, some they abandon the route, some they can't service. Why? Because we are still dealing with the issue of consequence management. Why have you not held anyone? Because that's complicity there. If you're not paying people on time and they can't do...
Depleted around, I think, towards the end of September. The budget was fine for what was intended. But then you had these issues that we, unverified routes, unadvertised routes, rationalization of schools. Focus was on providing this. We were looking at the saving at some point within our department. But when it was a budget issue, in that case. Maybe if we were to attribute it to ourselves, it might have been, I don't want to say poor planning, there was planning, but it did. Because truth be told, we were looking at some saving within that, and suddenly the entire budget was depleted. I mean, we had two that were long-standing, and we were about to even be litigated. And when we did our own verification, and we were convinced towards the outer. The second issue, Chairperson, and it's not that we internally we've picked up inefficiencies of doing things on time. And it cuts across. It's not only scholar transport, processing of things and so on. It's sitting at 90-something%, with our budget sitting at 99, almost 100% of spending on scholar transport.
All right. In the interest of time, Commissioner, I will allow, in your answer, you continue, you're going back to what others have not done, what others have not given you budget capacity. We understand those, that you have budgetary constraints. We are dealing with that issue. You have issues of capacity, but I wanted you to reflect on things that you know your department has not done what it was supposed to when the issue fell within their ambit of control. That's what I'm focusing on. So I will give you time to reflect, because for every response you are saying is so and so, I didn't have budget, right? I'm assuming even the capacity you did mention earlier is because of issue of budget, meaning there's someone else somewhere who's actually responsible because they didn't give you the money. So, and I understand you can only do what's within your control. So I want us to zoom in on those aspects that are fully within your control, that you should have done, and you know you have not done as a department. So let's park it for now, think about it while we go through the other questions. I'll come back to it at the end. The issue of thank you.
We are going to be chastised for interfering with a right to food. It's already 1:30. I was thinking we could adjourn at least for 30 minutes just to exercise that right. And we will then resume again at